This is not a test. This is not a test. Hopefully get my stream game on point. I'm waiting here. I see myself. The stream is on. Hopefully the audio is good. Oh, do I hear wifey coming in the door? I'm going to ramble here, y'all, until the views are up. I see people in the chat, but then it says watching is 0. Anyway, I got a couple minutes before 5:30. It's 5:30 here. But I know it's like 4:30 in Cali, and it's these early ones. I know a lot of you catch this, afterwards or in pretense, and I got to figure stuff out with the live. I do, as far as like when would be the best time during the games. I'm like watching the game, trying to take my notes from our video, trying to like analyze all this stuff. And I don't think I'd be very entertaining during a game unless it wasn't a Warrior game. Maybe, watch like a Rocket Celtics game and just talk hella shit. Let's see here. This is weird. Okay, 3 watching. I got 3 viewers. Let's do it. Let's do it, y'all. It's not the numbers, it's the quality. Shout out to all y'all. Man. All right, before I get into this, let me do my little personal ramble here. I kind of like these because, to be honest with you, I don't really have a social life. Y'all are my social life and my kids and shit. So when was it? The end of August? At some point, I had been without a vehicle. I sold my old beat up Cadillac when I went full time doing this because I wasn't leaving the house and, the bills and all that shit, and it had broke down. So at some point in August, I had saved up a little bit of cash, and we decided to buy a used vehicle, a second one. We bought this Pathfinder, and this kid, I should have known, man. I'm very inept when it comes to mechanics, and bottom line is, basically on the way home from buying it, the shit broke down, and it was absolutely devastating. So we put it on our Firestone bill. They said it was this camshaft, sensor, shot, all this shit. And I don't know how the kid rigged it up, because in our test drive, it was like smooth as hell. And then like an hour into driving, and it just fucked up. I don't know what they did. They cleared the computer and all that shit. So we took it to Firestone, and I see my boy James in the podcasts. He can only record on like Thursday mornings between like a certain time and a certain time. And it really just isn't working for me. It's too much of a cram, but I may try and do pods. But anyway, so we get this Pathfinder fixed. It turns out they used aftermarket parts, and it breaks down again. And now it's in the shop. It's been in the shop for a week at the Nissan dealership. And they're like, yeah, we'll fix this. And I'm just putting this shit on a credit card, to be honest with y'all. And I'm like, all right, well, fine. We got to fix this. We're already in too deep to it. And now they call us back. They're like, wait, hold on. The computer is wrong. We thought it was this. We did this. We did that. And now it's the computer. And I'm just being bent over from this Nissan. It's putting me in a hole. And while all of this, a dude goes, did it run out of blame? Everything. Camshaft sensor, a gasket. I'm not mechanical. It was about a list of 4 or 5 things. I'm several $1,000s in debt for it. But I was like, all right, I'm too deep in it. It is what it is. Big picture, okay, whatever. And so now it's another thing on top of another thing. And the dude's trying to hustle me into putting a new computer into it. So then he's like, it's $1,300. I get the call this afternoon. And then I go on eBay, and I'm like, dude, you can buy these computers for like $100. But anyway, I'm pissed off. But what happened was yesterday, this guy I used to work with calls me up, and he's like, hey, man, I want you to come manage this group home that I'm running, in West Mesa, in the Tempe area. And I'll give you this amount of money, Monday through Friday, And I really had to think about it, man. I really did, because I'm like, dude, I'm in a hole. I've dug myself in a hole here. And I slept on it, and I turned him down. I'm here doing this thing, but I was going to try and do it all. Now, my YouTube stuff was probably going to have to taper off, but I was going to continue the Patreon and then try to do this full time, as I did in my first season. But I ended up thinking about it. My daughter's starting her volleyball season. My other daughter's playing freshman basketball out of nowhere. I guess it's just in the blood. She's just like girly girl out of nowhere. She's like, I'm playing freshman basketball, Dad. I'm like, all right. So her first game is next week. And I was like, yo, man, I can't get this time back with my kids. I can go get a job whenever I want and make up this hole I've put us in with this Nissan. But I was like, man, I got to continue the course. I got to stay the course. I can't do it. Sorry. But anyway, that's my little personal rant that I was dealing with over the last 48 hours. I was like, it's just one of those things, man, where you want to be responsible having a family. and do this and that. But I believe, man, I believe. So I'm sticking with it. And it wasn't like I was going to taper off anyway, but the YouTube thing might have backseated me. Make a $3 tier. You guys have committed so much, and committed, or I appreciate the support, because this is how, to be clear, YouTube isn't giving me shit. Like, I got a $40 check in my PayPal today from YouTube for September, just to give you a clue of that ain't nothing, and because they take a percentage anyway. But anyway, it ain't about that. I'm blessed, man. I'm here doing what I want. I'm getting paid to do this, but I just wanted to give a little personal tip on me, like in contemplating and this, and I'm like, nah, I can't do it. This is the third job I've turned down since I've been doing this full time. And I'm like, nah, man, sorry. It's always tempting. I don't like to turn down opportunities. It's not necessarily like that we're not making it, we're not all right. It's just like, I always like to try to take on more, but it ain't the right move. All right. That's what's up. But yeah, as far as those of you that have asked about James and that NBA life, and I ask you, like, Major, I see you in here, and I see a couple of you, Mark, Steve, there's several of you, Double A, I'm leaving some out, but like the way you guys follow, I would love for y'all to hop on, whether it doesn't have to be video, but an audio, you see my pods back up, and talk some basketball stuff. James, his window again to record is super tight, and then he doesn't watch basketball. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was pretty clear, and it's cool. We have a good, when we cover other things, but I think it would bring the best out of me if someone could go back and forth with me as far as basketball goes. So that's an opportunity out there. If any of you have like something you really want to speak on, or have, we have a disagreement, let me know. We can record it. Let me see here. Make sure. Oh, okay. No. So those of you that missed the beginning of that Pathfinder car story and the job thing, nah, man, I'm staying the course. Now, as far as my YouTube thing goes, I really like the show concept, and I know a lot of you have reached out and said you do like the entirety, but it seems like if I hate doing it, but if I do like subject at a time with like a hot caption, it just increases my views a lot. So I'll probably toy with it a little bit, but as far as the NBA Alchemy, that show, like I dropped one today, a short one. It will definitely be on Spotify, iTunes. As far as the way I handle it with the videos on YouTube, I may chop it up. I'm not decided yet. I'm going to give it a little longer, like you suggested, Major. Give it a little longer, maybe up and through till December. But nah, nothing's changing. It was just a quick rant. Yeah, some hey Alk live stuff. I just know my voice. I get tired of hearing myself talking with these NBA alchemies. It's just like it'd be better if I could bounce it off somebody. But I'm open to things, and I'm gonna grow either way. Let's see here. I had a couple of. I did, Carlos. I saw you. You said that was I remember you said it was the only way to go. And then some were like, no, I like the entirety. I almost think it's like a generational thing where it's like, I think younger people are like, yeah, you just got to break it up, quick Instagram videos. And then people my age and a little older are like, no, I want a show. I want to be able to put it on and do something else and listen. So I'll find a middle ground, and I'll split it up. I'll be dynamic with it. All right. So I guess the first thing, I'm not going to talk too much about this matchup. I'll talk a little bit about the matchups, but mostly we know what the subjects are. We know what's going down. Now, the latest, I don't know if you've heard, is Draymond is appealing the fine through the Players Association. And my first thought was like, I wonder if this was planned. So like when they sat him down, they're like, we're going to suspend you. We're going to fine you. Appeal it. You'll win. So we're not really going to fine you, but we're going to make it look like we fined you. And so that was my first thought on it. If that's not the case and he is appealing it and there's like a, I don't know if you call it a fight or a dispute on it, then man, Jesus, it's getting ugly. It's getting ugly already. I see the entire show, Grayson. All right, well, I'll play with both, and maybe it'll be hot. Like maybe I'll just do both. I'll do both probably. But anyway, back to the Draymond thing. See, I'm going to go live with this. I have to answer this because wife is at the car shop. Babe, you're live on my pregame. What's up? Okay. Making sure everything's all right. All right. Bye. Anyway, picking up the car. She wanted to pick it up because she thought I was going to get volatile with him, you know, because I'm going to leave that alone. It's not about the revenue. It's about attracting the people. I agree. And I'll play with it, but I appreciate your guys' take. And again, if any of you want to do like, even if it's like a 90 seconds of your take and I respond thing, I'd like to interact with patrons and you guys first. There's so many randos out there. They're like, hey, Alchemy, I think, anyway, I'm not going to clown nobody, but you know what I'm saying. There's some randoms out in the YouTube universe. So I guess what I'm thinking about, I've listened to like everybody's take on this situation, as I'm sure. I haven't made any predictions, Caesar, as far as the game tonight. We'll get into it. Right now, I'm just rambling big picture Draymond, KD. I haven't said anything about this Rockets matchup. I have a couple takes on it. We'll get into it. What do we got? We got some time here. I got on early. So I've listened to everybody's take in the world on this thing, and most importantly to those around the organization. Kawakami and Thompson had a pod. Rick Bucher, all these guys that are somewhat familiar with the franchise and have somewhat of an inside take. And I got to thinking about how, you know, and I've brought this up before, like no one really wants to pay Draymond this super max that he's hinting at, or even a max deal, right? And is this their way of kind of moving on from Draymond and like using this? Right? Like they saw the opportunity. Obviously they didn't create this, but at this point, is this their way now where the ownership can tell the fan base, like when we don't give him the deal he wants and he walks or he's traded or whatever the case may be, they're like, well, look, this is the root of it, rather than they never wanted to pay Draymond and they never intended on extending him. Yeah, no one's really said much. So as far as here's the thing with DeMarcus Cousins, from how I understand it, the way we acquired him with the mid-level, we can only offer him a certain percentage above that, which is nowhere near the max and what he's going to try to get. Now, what I've heard is not positive. I heard he's behind schedule. Like those that have seen him, the Dunked On podcast, those guys that are out in the Bay Area and like get to go to practice and shit, were saying like he looks gimpy. And then they brought up that Kobe, Rudy Gay, all these guys in the past have already been on the court at this point. Now, obviously, Boogie's a bigger guy, but it's coming along slower than anticipated. But also, we won't be able, even if KD leaves, we can't just use that money on Boogie. That's not how it works. But Draymond, you know, yeah, if we're going to know, man. That's why this game is so exciting. We're going to know in this Texas 3-step with Dallas and San Antonio as well. We're going to know, and I don't want to like curse it and jinx it, but if it does get ugly, I mean, they could move them. They could move either one of them. If you saw the video, first, my take was after the post game from Atlanta where, you know, he had the Redskins hat on. KD looked hurt, man. He looked like hurt. That was my takeaway from his body language and just his eyes. He looked hurt, and that was disturbing. Obviously, they've talked, and, you know, Draymond said, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till you see us now, and they're saying the right things. Okay, now the questions are moving on me a bit quick. Let me backtrack here for a second. Exactly, Josh. You're saying, that's what I'm saying. This may just be an excuse. Like they were like, oh, we're Draymond. Well, we weren't really going to fuck with you anyway. So now we'll put it on you. I don't know, you know. Exactly. Mark, nobody wants to pay him the max. And who will? I mean, but Mark, at the same time, in those of you that have covered the NBA, do you remember when we gave Jason Caffey like essentially a max deal off that Bulls team? Like, we always say no one will do this, and then those contracts, but I will admit teams have gotten smarter with the analytics guys now, and they've become much more frugal since that 2016 season. But yeah, we can't just give KD or Draymond's money to Boogie. That's not how it works. They'd have to get super tricky with it. They'd have to leave like they'd have to Eddie DeBartolo and just like leave him a briefcase of money somewhere. He does wear the that's so here was my thing. If you guys saw my little video today, the NBA alchemy, Washington, I've already been in the trade machine. I'm not going to deny. I don't want it's I feel guilty stirring the pot, but I mean, we're all thinking this shit. Like if it does go negatively, what would be the move? We hope for the best, but we think about the worst. Washington is a shit show right now. So I think they may be willing to gamble it just to move off the core that they have. Otto Porter makes a grip of money. He's been a bit disappointing, but he does fit. He is a 3-and-D wing. He would fit. He'd be like essentially, a plus Harrison Barnes, but he's making a shit ton of money. So I don't know if you could get Beal, because I think they'd want to keep Beal and Wall to try to keep KD. I don't know, but anyway, Washington. If you saw we were talking about Boston. Now, those of you that are like, I want Tatum, Brown, and Danny Ainge's, grandson. Like, I don't think Tatum's on the table. I know he's regressed a little this season, but let's be real here. It's still a gamble. And Tatum's on the table. The deal would look more like, and again, I'm talking about if somehow, and shout out Double A. If Double A's on this chat here, his take was spot on. If the Warriors did try to shop KD, then it would just it could just totally blow up if the word got out that they were shopping him. But I also think that at the same time, it would already be super ugly at the point where it wouldn't matter. Like if it was like, oh, the Warriors are shopping KD, if it got to that point, then it wouldn't need to be a secret. It would be already all everywhere like, oh shit, this shit is ugly. Right. And then it would lessen teams wanting to go get him, though, really, I guess, unless it would be a fight. Again, the one I point out is Danny Ainge, because he's a wild dude. And I think he's the type that would believe like, oh, not only could we win the championship this year with him, but once he's part of this Celtics organization, we could retain him. That's the one team I think it may be a gamble that they could consider. And again, the deal, I looked at the cap numbers. One, I don't want Hayward. Gordon Hayward, we don't want him back. He's paid at a max. And I don't know if you've seen him, but I don't think he's ever going to get back to an all-star player. So I don't think they want him. It would look something like Al Horford, Marcus Smart, and Jaylen Brown for KD and like Damian Jones. And I don't know, you could even throw Bell in there or something like that, right? And then Boston fixes their logjam. They have an alpha. Kyrie's his boy, right? And then all of a sudden we put Jaylen Brown right in his spot, and then we have a shit ton of depth. Al Horford fixes the 5 spot. And then you can't not like Marcus Smart off the bench. Marcus Smart would be the perfect Draymond Green replacement in the sense of like, if we lost Draymond moving forward, he would be the guy that would give us that same juice, right? They're not the same player, but anyway, that's what was my thinking in that trade. Yeah, Hayward, he hasn't been good, man. Brown, Rozier for KD, Sean, and the Poodle. Who's the Poodle, Mark? You talking about Damian? Yeah, I don't know. I think Boston would be the one team. The Clippers, they're going to hold out just like they're holding out for Kawhi. Jerry West is too smooth. Yeah, Marcus Smart is a dog, right? That would, it's arguable if let's say that trade happened. The Warriors might be better. You talk about bringing back strength in numbers and going back to the original thing. Horford, Brown, and Smart for minus that's a lot, dude. That's just the depth. I don't know. Anyway, we're just messing around with this shit. What? Are you joking me that Clay got depressed because he was bad? You got to be messing with me, Major. You're messing with me. Varejao? Come on, man. I know guys love Varejao, but that's hella funny. Oh, I should have known Mark the Poodle was cook. I should have known. Watch him light Chris Paul up tonight, man. I know that would make you happy. That KD for Kawhi, yeah, I don't think that's happening. You're not joking. Clay was depressed Varejao when he used to play with Varejao's curls, man. I don't know, man. Yeah, Smart, he has this. He has a lot of characteristics of Draymond, right? That would be a type of guy you would be looking for if Draymond were to be moving on. I will say I also was playing with Draymond trades. That's a lot harder, but at the same sense, there's more options because he's locked in until 2020, and And yeah, so there's not like, it doesn't dwindle it down to the pot of teams that possibly could retain KD. And the one that I came up with is Aaron Gordon for Draymond Green. Now, I don't think Orlando would do it. I really don't. But here's the argument you make with them. They draft Mo Bamba. They've got Jonathan Isaac. They have surprisingly some serviceable wings. Jonathan Simmons, Terrence Ross hit a game winner last night against Philly. And DJ Augustine is underrated. So you bring in Draymond, championship winner, dog, because that's what Orlando's missing. They're missing an alpha, right? He can help mature Isaac and Bamba. They could potentially be the best defensive front line in the NBA. Draymond, Bamba, Isaac. Now they're not this season, right? And then the Warriors get back the hometown boy, Aaron Gordon, and now he's missing all the intangibles that Draymond provides as far as the leadership, the dog, right? But as far as the skill and the fit, he's really good at catch and shoot three now. That's what he's worked on. And then running the floor, finishing, and he's very switchable on the perimeter. That's the elite trait that Aaron Gordon brings is his versatility as a defender. So yeah, that was the only thing that came to mind with the Draymond trade. Right. No, Chris, I agree. I think it's a hard sell to Orlando. I think it is because I think that their other guys are so far away that the timing isn't right. Draymond would age out by the time the other guys came along. I don't know. Let me catch up with these. No, yeah, Major, I agree. We're not. Again, this is just conversation that's running in the back of my head. I don't think it's at all really something that is feasible. Hey, if we go out and get beat by 30 tonight, and these fools are looking at each other dirty, and then we have an ugly road trip, then it may, we may pick up the conversation. But right now, at this point in time, everything we're all just speculating, even if how it's meant. So that was just what came to mind. But yeah, I think the trade is far fetched. Rudy Gay is slowly done. Who are we talking? Was someone suggesting sending Draymond to San Antonio? Yeah, I don't know. I think we may come out in bombs away. You would hope. I wouldn't predict it because I think that all of us in this forum right now, our minds are biased. That's what we want, right? That's what our hearts are telling us. But it's hard to say, man, because Houston is playing better. And Houston also, let's not forget, they have the revenge factor tonight. You know what I'm saying? They're the team that should want this game more, potentially. Okay, so let me get into a little bit. You forgot, Carlos? Man, this thing's about to be on. This is the pregame live. You forgot about all the drama. Melo just took a dump, man. I've been off that shit. What if we just went and got Melo to solve things? All right, so here's a quick little take on tonight's game. If you haven't watched the Rockets, they've gotten better now in the last few games here. They beat Denver the other night. Now, Harden is not 100%. I think he had a hamstring issue. He looks a little heavy. He's just not looking quite like MVP Harden. And the way Klay has been swagging out and being aggressive, I think that's the key. I think Klay needs to bust Harden's ass tonight because obviously we don't got Steph. And you expect Chris Paul to kind of own Quinn Cook tonight. I don't know if I'd like to see them try maybe Alfonso McKinney on CP3, put somebody like more physical because Quinn, I think, is going to get bodied by CP3. He's got to go back and answer. Quinn's only chance with CP3 is to make CP3 work on the other end. He's not going to stop him. But Harden not looking like MVP version of himself and Klay kind of just got a pep in his step of late. I think that's the key matchup to exploit. Now, what's this dude's name? Gary Clark has kind of been their Ariza replacement, if you will. And here's what stings. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Here's what stings about Gary Clark. Gary Clark was Jacob Evans' teammate at Cincinnati and went undrafted. And now he's contributing for our rival. I'm not saying he's like some great potential player, but he's contributing. They like him, and they're molding him into a 3-and-D wing. Meanwhile, Jacob Evans is in Santa Cruz with his thumb in his ass, man. And so that was too far, probably. That was too far. But you see my point. So I didn't know that until I did a little research on the situation, and that stung when I figured that out. Yeah, it's too early. It's too early, but I don't like what I see. I don't like what I see as far as Jacob Evans goes. Okay, so Hassan, as far as the Steph thing goes, I like what they're doing, and I kind of foresaw this. Now, clearly, he's not on the trip in case he plays. I think he's only on the trip because of this Draymond KD thing. So, and because I've said that your groin is like KD, man. You just don't know. You don't know. It's one of those things. Better safe than sorry. To sit him, what they say, another 10 days. I don't expect to see him play until after Thanksgiving. And I think that they're just being precautionary. I think if this was the playoffs, I think Steph could play. But the groin is one of those things you keep tweaking, you keep tweaking, and it could just grow into something. The West is a clusterfuck. Utah is struggling now. Denver's falling back. Sacramento, I think they're interesting, man. I think they're interesting. Remember, you guys remember it was a patron exclusive that I liked De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield. De'Aaron as most improved, Hield as a possible six-man. I didn't know he was going to start. I thought they were going to start Bogdanovic, and they reversed that. But I saw this coming from Sacramento. I don't think it's sustainable into the playoffs, but I saw them taking a step up. Bit disappointed in the Suns. Memphis is just crazy. I don't have an explanation for you. The groin will grow in girth, but I don't have an explanation for Memphis. True, Carlos. If you're referring to Evans, Looney took a while. The thing that just jumps out to me about Evans, and I've brought it up, is that release point. I'm checking the time here. It's such a low release that when he misses, the ball never gets to the trajectory where it could even go in. He doesn't even give it a chance to go in. And so that is, into the way the game's being played now, that's rough, So yeah, I'm not really gonna write him off yet. It just doesn't look good. Do I think Dre's got to be aggressive towards KD tonight? I mean, what do you mean? I think what we're gonna see is Draymond dialed in, very serious, and going out of his way to show that he's a good teammate as far as dapping and celebrating and acknowledging everybody and what they're doing on the court is what I expect. And I expect him to probably be a little tight, maybe over try a little bit. But no, yeah, I don't who knows? But I think they're going to try to he's going to try to go out of his way to acknowledge everybody, maybe overpass. And we'll see. Maybe give the ball to KD. I don't know, but it's hard to say. Right? You saw Lance stealing someone's heat check. That shit was hilarious in that Lakers game, man. That shit was hilarious. I've got one more take that I left out of that video. You see in my videos, I try to cut them all in one. I may have a little snippet where I cut out, but it's just me sipping coffee or something. But I don't do multiple takes. I was impressed with Damian Lillard. I know he didn't shoot well, but I know I have a couple Portland Blazer fan patrons. The thing that stuck out to me about Dame is I think he's turned the corner as far as understanding that he needs to get shots for others. He understands in today's NBA, he can drive instead of taking a tough shot. If he gets Aminu or Stauskas a three, just do the math. So I think that there was a couple plays where I was like, Dame finally gets it. He finally gets it, because that was always my knock, is he just wasn't getting shots for guys, and he could. He just didn't shoot well last night. The one other thing that I wanted to bring up about tonight's matchup, yeah, it's good. I don't know what's going to be reported about Steph, but I definitely think he traveled because of this scenario, not because he's close to playing. I think they're just going to sit him and be over precautious. I'll answer that before I move on. And Nathan, I don't know if you saw in my comments, so and this is a good time for that. I'll answer the KD thing, and it's too hard to say, but I'm going to try to get up to Oracle before the end of the season. Those of you that were here early in this telecast of this, I was complaining about the car problems I'm having, and they're just bending me over backwards, and I'm in too deep to it. But I'm going to try and put some cash away and get up to Oracle and have a meetup at Oracle by the end of the season. It'll probably be later in the year, but I'll keep you all posted on that. That would be super dope. have a beer with y'all and then watch the game, kiss the hallowed ground goodbye. The question from Hassan, can we win a championship without KD? It really just depends on what the roster. It's so hard to say what the roster looks like. What do we get in return? What do we fill them in? If I assume it's going to be a depth thing, we're going to go back to a deeper roster and not fill out with another star. And so, yeah, I think we absolutely will be right there in contention. And it just depends. It depends what it is. We could potentially be better without KD, I think. I think if somehow we got some loaded depth with it. It really just depends. It's hard to say. Yeah. No, yeah, I thought these live videos stay up post after, because I know some people overseas in different time zones, they watch this when they get up or whatever. So yeah, I think the live, if that's what you were saying, about how, to keep these for the patrons, these are just for patrons. This isn't live on YouTube. You think that'd be the hope if they got AD? Here's the one thing though, and someone brought up Ethan's column on this, Ethan Sherwood-Strauss's column. He's such a wordy bastard. Like, no doubt he's good at it, but sometimes he's just like, he's like Kyrie in his article. It's like, oh, he's using too many moves just to get to his point. But he brought up the point of the stigma of winning, and I forget the words he used for it, but basically saying there's no escaping our success, that people just hate us in today's internet age. And that's the one thing I question about AD is I don't know if he wants that look now. Is it going to become now like taboo to be a Warrior? Like, oh, you joining the Warriors? Like, get the fuck out of here. So I think that they are going to battle that when it comes to free agency, depending on who it is, if it's already an established guy. Y'all up at 1 a.m. That's what's up, man. Yeah, my time is about 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. is my sleep window. Yeah, I don't know how that, but here's the thing about the AD and even the DeMarcus thing. If we're talking about contracts, and I'm no capologist, you know me, I'm not a numbers guy, but I've said several times, oh, there's no way we could do this in this Bob Myers era, and then he pulls it out, right? Whether it be Iguodala or even the KD move. And he definitely is a magician with the numbers. I think that comes from the agent in him. He knows like loopholes and shit. But yeah, it is, right, Tom? He is about Ethan, and like I said, I appreciate the skill of it, but sometimes I'm a guy, like I skim articles for like quotes and like the meat of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm impatient like everybody else, but I guess this thing's hopping on here on TNT. I haven't heard Charles's take. He's going to be like, here, the thing is, Kenny, KD. Anyway, I don't do a good Charles. I always said I wanted the three-peat and I'd be happy. I don't want to get greedy with it. I'll tell you this, and you guys are probably, most of you disagree with me, is I'd rather, I don't know why it's either or, I'd rather lose this year and then for whatever reason, the roster stays super strong for like the next 3 or 4. And then we get another one here and there, but we're always battling till the end, rather than like getting this one and then it breaks up and explodes and then we're back fighting in the middle of the pack. And I don't think that'll happen. I'm just saying, being a fan through the, the 90s and in this early 2000s, like as long as we're in contention, I'll be very happy and grateful. I'm realistic. I don't think we're just going to run off 5 or 6. You'd love the three-peat, right? That's a historical thing. But as long as we're in contention and I'm confident in the moves, and the Draymond thing, man, moving, I just don't know. It's so hard to gauge how long he is going to be effective. And he's not the thing. Here's the thing. This is the one thing I'll leave with before we hop off on this. I'm sorry if I didn't get to everything. But here's my problem with Draymond. I would be team Draymond, get KD all the way out, because to be clear, I like Draymond more. I think we all like Draymond more as just a person. But KD is the superior talent. That's just how the world works. But Draymond has not gotten better at shooting. That is my problem. That's really what the root of it. And I'm not saying he's going to be the third Splash Brother, but what I'm saying is as he ages, that was what was going to balance out him aging and not being as athletic and not being able to play with the same motor, is him actually knocking down the threes. I brought this up so many times, the Jason Kidd effect, where as you age, you got to add to your game to compensate for you losing your athleticism in your youth. And I just don't see it. He's getting worse as a shooter. And so that is why ultimately, like, I'm not sure I want Draymond long term. Really, that's what it boils down to. Yeah, that's really what it is. But this thing's gonna start. I appreciate y'all checking this out. I'm not gonna predict anything. I've been jinxing too many things. Last thing, Damian Jones, prove yourself tonight. Those of you that still think he can help out, this is the perfect opportunity for you against Capella to prove yourself. Can you stay on the floor? Can you be effective? Because it's the perfect example. Clint Capella is a baby at basketball, but he's a basketball player. And Damian Jones is an athlete. That's the difference. Athlete, basketball player. Prove yourself. Stay on the floor. Don't let him eat your lunch. Go Dubs. I'm out, y'all.